name is Stacey Gibbs. I own Pink Fine Stationery. We're located in the Shops of Roosevelt on 42nd Street, just north of 235. Our phone number is 515-255-1345. Or you can catch me on my email, which is Stacey, S-T-A-C-E-Y, at pinkfinestationery.com. Well, most brides tend to come in about, I would say, around 6 months ahead of time. That would be for wedding invitations, just to start looking. Save the dates usually go out 6 months to a year prior to the wedding. It just kind of depends on the logistics of the wedding. Will it be a destination? If it will, usually you want to give people more of a lead time on that, so I would say closer to 9 months or a year. Wedding invitations, like I said, are sent out around, or we start with that process about 6 months ahead of time. It could be sooner, absolutely, or it can be later, but I would say on average brides come in around 6 months prior. And we just, basically the process is we start looking through albums. So I sell a couple different lines of stationery, and they all include, they all have albums that you can actually go through and look at their samples and that sort of thing. So we kind of start there, and we go through, and basically what you're selecting is your paper, and then we start from scratch and we build the entire invitation how you'd like it to look. And it can be as simple or as easy as going through exactly one of the samples in the book, or it could be submitting custom art, which is no charge through any of my companies, so basically you can kind of design your own. And then ordering takes about, I would say, a month from start to finish. That includes the proof process, that would include ship time, print time. Basically, once you are happy, once you are ready to submit the order, that goes through a proof process. You will submit, we will submit that to the company. You will see everything as it's laid out prior to printing. You can make any changes. And then from there it prints and ships. And like I said, it takes about 3 weeks or a month. For save the dates, I would say the most important information obviously would be your names, bride and groom, and then this being just an announcement. This was a formal announcement that they will be married. The date, year, and place. This is a destination wedding for this couple, so we did include the hotel information on here as well as their website. I think that hotel information can be important should it be a destination wedding or should it be an out-of-town wedding, but I think if it's in town, it's kind of up to you. I would say some people include it, some people don't. There's no great rule of thumb on that, other than I think sometimes that it looks better on the layout with the hotel information, and sometimes it looks better without. So, but you can always include that the accommodations information on your wedding website, and you wouldn't necessarily need to have it on the save the date. But for this one, we kind of kept it all together. This being just more of a date, place, names. This is very simple. This was actually sent out as a postcard, which is another great idea. Cost saving idea, which was printed on one side and then the bride would address on the other. So another idea, and we just included the website on here as well. And then this is another formal announcement, again, just date, place, invitation to follow, and again, the bride and groom's wedding websites, which seem to be becoming a lot more popular, and a great way to organize information. So, and like I said, these are usually sent out, I would say, anywhere from 6 to 12 months in advance. It can really be or include whatever you'd like it to be, kind of reflects to you and the style you're looking for the wedding. So as far as wedding invitations, what we've really kind of seen, or the trends that we're kind of seeing coming up, is a lot of people are returning to a more traditional look. There's a lot of neutral colors, a lot of creams, ivories, whites, light browns, soft pinks, that sort of thing. Kind of a more neutral palette than we've seen in the last couple of years. So we have seen kind of a return to a more traditional look, with whether it be a script font or kind of a more traditional layout, that sort of thing. Some embossing borders. But like I said, it just seems to kind of be returning to a more neutral palette, and with that, kind of comes a really sophisticated look. We've also kind of seen an increase in letterpress and kind of what you get with letterpress. And letterpressing is actually, the paper is a pretty porous paper where the ink is actually created from a plate that's actually been pressed into the paper. You just get a really deep impression with it, and rather than the ink sitting on top of the paper, the ink being pressed in gives it more depth. And that whole letterpress and that whole idea has really kind of become a really popular trend in the last couple of years. I do have 2 companies here at the store that do letterpressing. Whether it be your names, whether it be a border, whether it be the entire invitation invitation and artwork and that sort of thing, but it really gives a really great look. We also have still seen the layered card look, which is also always really popular, and I would say it is pretty traditional. You know, the colored layer, and then on top of that would be an ivory or a white layer, and that is what the printing is on. And it kind of gives you, again, just a second layer, a little bit more of a look, kind of helps you tie in another color. And then on top of that would be a lot of hand lettering, a lot of artwork we've kind of seen in the past, you know, I would say 18 months on this, and I've actually seen more of it, where I actually work with a calligrapher that lives here in Des Moines, and she will actually handwrite your names, and then your name becomes a piece of artwork, and then that artwork can then be applied to the invitation, can be applied to the program, menus, and it kind of brands your wedding. And for you know, that sort of thing, you kind of get to pick your style too. I've seen everything from a really, you know, Victorian-looking script with a lot of serif to it, to basically what looks like hand lettering. A little bit of a script, but a modern-looking font that then becomes, like I said, custom art, and then we just apply that to all of your the wedding stationery pieces. On top of that, like I said, I think we have seen more branding of people's invitations, whereas they have one look that is becoming pretty consistent throughout each piece. I wouldn't say that's always the case on the save the date. Like I said, I think you can kind of go whichever way you want with the save the date, but I do think the branding is becoming a lot more popular, whether it be a monogram, whether, like I said, it's that custom art of hand lettering, whether it's a you know, a piece of artwork that means something to you. We actually did a wedding invitation where there was a boat. It was a nautical theme, but it was more of a rowboat, and that rowboat was on everything. And it just kind of became their brand. You know, they ended up putting it on stickers and for the gift bags and programs and menus, and I think it really kind of just makes a kind of cohesive look. So I think that's also a really great idea, and it can be as simple as a monogram or, you know, a little piece of artwork, or it can be kind of an elaborate border or whatever that may be, but kind of keep that consistent throughout. So, like I said, I think that people seem to be returning more to a traditional look. It seems to be the idea that kind of going back to a little bit of you know, the really gorgeous script fonts and the neutral palette seems to be kind of here to stay for a while. So, and then of course we always do pocket folders and you know, that sort of thing, which is great if you have a lot of pieces. That kind of keeps everything, you know, coordinated and organized. You know, the pocket folders are always popular and are kind of a mix and match sort of deal. So you can always kind of work with that on your color palette as well. Another piece of the wedding stationery suite that I would advise you to kind of think about would be the menus, programs, place cards, and then wedding stationery. You know, and menus, some people do them, some people don't. I think it's a preference thing on that. You know, they can you know, be something fun to kind of dress at the table, or, you know, you can kind of forego that. Menu or programs are always important. It can be anywhere from just listing the wedding party and the ceremony just right off on a sheet of paper, or it can be something a little bit more elaborate where it's a couple pieces of paper, you know, grommeted together with a ribbon or that sort of thing. And then for place cards and escort cards, I would say, you know, a lot of people do place cards, which basically will, you know, tell your guests which table they're at. You know, that can also be creative. That could be, you know, something that you know, put a twist on, or it could just be a folded card, a tinted card, which are always popular. And then lastly would be your wedding stationery. I think it's always nice to have something with your new name on it, and both your names together, whether it be your monogram or your names, and kind of always a nice touch to send out after the wedding's over and you've received your gifts and all those guests to thank. So, thanks for watching. Again, my name is Stacey Gibbs, and I own Pink at the Shops of Roosevelt. And just lastly, if I could leave you with any piece of information, it would be make your wedding stationery suite all of your own. It should be personal. I think it should be highly reflective of who you are. And I think that, you know, the rules are now just that it should reflect you. I think that's the most important thing, that you're happy with it, that it reflects your style and the day, and so just keep that in mind. Again, I can be reached at 515-255-1345 or Stacey, S-T-A-C-E-Y, at pinkfinestationery.com. Thanks.